What is going on, guys? JustCon here, bringing you guys back into the deck profile. So today we are doing Adventure Dragon Link. So this is a little bit different than the 60 card variant that I did a couple videos ago. I still really like that deck, and I think it's a pretty good deck. Um, but I just don't think it's consistent enough with the meta and everything. And there's some tweaks that I might still do, and that I might still play around with the 60 card variant. This variant is 50 cards. It's still a little similar. There's some stuff from the last deck profile that did make it over, but there's a lot of big changes. I talk about that a lot. But yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it, and here it is. Okay, guys, so starting off, we have 3 Tracer, the 1 Recharger, the 1 Synchron, and the 2 Apps Router. So I know this is kind of a bigger rocket engine. I actually used to run a larger one. Originally I was playing uh 3 Tracer, Recharger, Silver Rocket, 2 Synchron, and then 2 Apps Router. And then I changed that out to actually also include Rocket Caliper, which I think has potential. I might start trying to play around that a little bit. Maybe cut a Tracer for a Caliper, see how that goes, because Caliper is another level 4 tuner, and it can be special summoned to a zone that a Dark Link monster points to, and then you contribute it to special summon any Dark Dragon from your hand. But like, I cut him, I was playing him, he was cool, but if you saw him and Tracer in your hand, it was pretty cloggy. Too many normal summons. I decided to really get serious with this deck, especially with Splight coming out and trying to cut it down. So I cut down a Synchron. Sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, I do miss this guy, 2 of them, for Tracer's Effect to bring out another level 4. But a lot of the time, I will actually use Tracer's Effect to bring out Synchron, if need be. You also, I cut Synchron down because if you use his effect to bring out Apsarouter Dragon, it locks you into Darks, and if you're doing that, if you're using your normal summon at that point, you're usually, at a point where you either had a more optimal play or it locks you into Darks extremely early, so you tend to not use that as often. Every now and then it might come up, but Apsarouter, I didn't want to cut down to 1 because it comes up a lot in the second one as well. Especially his effect of being able to bring himself out, because he's not just a searcher. He can bring himself out if you control a rocket monster. So if you have him plus any of these guys, it's an instant 2 cards in the field, as long as your normal summon doesn't get negated or his special summon. But if his special summon does get negated, then you get to search another guy, and then use the rocket in the field, go into Striker, and then you can search out Boot Sector, and then you can still go into your Romulus plays, or even Seals, if you decide to play Seals. But if you wanted to cut Tracer down, you could cut this down a little bit. I'm playing a 50 card deck, down from 60. I have a lot of stuff I want to go over and explain. But yeah, I really like this setup. Tracer is never a bad card in your hand. That's why I decided to keep him at 3. And then Apsarouter, like I said, his secondary effect and his search effect actually comes up a lot. Like if he's milled, or sending him off of Dragon's Ravine or Foolish Burial if you have to. Just that kind of horror deal. The Chaos stuff, I'm playing 2 Sept, and 2 Baby Dragons. And actually, as another tech card, I'm playing Light Pulsar Dragon. So I used to actually play Light Pulsar Dragon at 3 when I had this more of a Chaos Dragon build, and he clogged a lot, so that's long been gone. but I'd still like him as a kind of like an extender. If you mill a light and a dark, he's like a free body on board. Um, but like snow comes up a lot, so he does take away 2 cards from your snow effect. But he recycles himself because if he's still on the field and he's destroyed, he can bring out a level 5 or higher dark dragon type monster. So that also includes like dragons. Well, obviously dragons, but like synchros and like extra deck monsters and stuff like that. So if you have a level 5 or higher dark dragon in your extra deck that's in the graveyard, he can bring it out. So he's actually kind of fun to go into off of Heretic Seals and stuff. But yeah, just I really like this kind of setup. Safer actually still goes a pretty long ways and into light. If you wanted to cut these for like ogres or nibs, I'd understand, but these are in place of nib. I just feel like nib is not good. On Master Duel, I played a lot of people who have nibbed me. I play a lot of Pendulum Magicians on Master Duel, and every time someone nibs me, they can't get over the token, and then I just attack over whatever they have until I win, just because the token is too strong for them. So that's kind of why I play these 3 over nib. You could play Ash. I do play Ash. I didn't mean to say that. Ghost Ogres over this, or other hand traps. Even Dark Ruler No More would be pretty good. Baby Dragon, I used to say if I could play more, I would. But even if I could, I don't think I would. I really like the setup with these guys. Chaos Space goes a long way. I was still in like the pre-Chaos Space mindset when I was saying that. But playing Chaos Space, you realize that you never need more than just one of each. They search each other, you bring one out. The only thing that sucks about these guys is if you end up with both of them in your hand, or what my deck likes to do is give me a Safer and one of the other guys in the hand. But yeah, I say give Light Pulsar a try. If you don't like it, you can cut it. Instantly make this a 49 card deck, or like I said, switch these out for a light hand trap, because this deck does hurt for lights. Chaos Ruler uses lights, and a couple other things uses lights, so I would recommend at least putting in 3 different light monsters if you don't play them. I decided to play the Brave engine with 3 Water Enchantress, the Griffin Rider, 1 right. Don't kill me real quick, please. Don't click off the video. I stuttered. I'm sorry. So right is an expensive card. I got a decent deal, about 35 bucks for this. I couldn't really justify spending so much on. I already bought the 3 Water Enchantress. I couldn't justify buying the 3 Enchantress and then the right on top of each other. So I figured that 3 Enchantress and then 1 right would be sufficient enough. Yes, it's not like the most proficient thing, and it's not the safest thing, but it's what I could afford. Obviously, if I could afford to run this at 3, I would. I just can't afford it right now. To wrap up the adventure package, we have the Faithful Adventure, the Dracoback, and the Foolish Burial, which is the honorary 4th Water Enchantress, which is another reason I kind of figured I could get away with running right at 1. Plus, if right ever gets hit, I feel like they would hit right, or like they might ban Water Enchantress and then hit right, or I don't know. I just want to, like, I feel like this is okay to prepare for if this gets hit. But with sprites out, I don't see why necessarily it would. But yeah, I know this is suboptimal, but like it's what I can afford, and it's how I would recommend playing this if you can't afford the entire Brave package. This is the route that I would go, and then work on getting your extra rights. So that's why I play this, how I play it. I have decided to play the Rose package because I don't know, it was so good on paper. You know, Hulk bring out the Rose, and then synchro off with it, get out the Rocks Rose. Just the extra bodies on board, and then the honorary Monster Reborn. I used to be very adamant about playing Monster Reborn in this deck, but the whole kind of Rose package made me rethink that. I do think about putting Monster Reborn back in here, because just being able to reborn stuff is pretty cool. And especially if you bring back an opponent's monster during some, like, plays, it's hilarious. But, yeah, this is just a really good overall package, and I definitely recommend playing it. Like, even if you do end up with these guys in your hand, it's not super bad. Rox Rose isn't really all that bad at all because you get the search off of her anyway. I assume it's a her. And then Red Rose, even if you do end up with this in hand, it's not the worst thing in the world because it's a level 3 Dark Dragon, so you can just go into striker plays off of it. But that's extremely, like, suboptimal. You don't want to see this in your hand. But it's not the worst thing, like I said, which is why it's worth playing. And it just extends so well with Hulk. I am still playing the one Levianeer and the one Red MD. You could cut these, make it 48 cards. These are probably what I would cut for the other two rights. But Levianeer is actually really, really freaking good because it rips a card from your opponent's hand. Like, with Splites too, you bring this guy out, and then you can send something back to the deck. Like, you could hit a hand trap, you could hit, like, there's Sprite starter, you could hit blue. If you just hit a lot of things that could slow them down. Yeah, and he destroys 2 things on the field for other matchups and stuff like that. I think he's just an overall pretty good card, but like I said, for rights, it will probably get cut for the rights. Same thing with Red MD. He's good to like extend with and like banish stuff. Like, you typically banish. Well, I'll show you later. I don't want to give anything away. But you can banish like Light Pulsar even off of this, or a Rose Dragon, like your Rocks Rose. Bring out the Rocks Rose. Banish it for this. That's sometimes not like the best play, obviously, but it's different routes you can go. But banishing stuff isn't all that great anymore, at least like compared to before, because you have Snow now, and Snow requires 7 cards. So banishing, like, for Levianeer, you banish 3, so you instantly, like, if you had 7, you're down to 4. You need to get 3 more cards into your graveyard to now bring out Snow. But the trade-off is you get to rip a card from your opponent's hand, and you have a 3,000 beat stick on the field. So, like, it's a trade-off, you know. But I hope you guys can see my point with that. But like I said, I don't have the rights, so this is kind of where they come in. They do get a little cloggy, so I have considered just cutting them down and making the deck 48 cards. But when they don't brick, they are really, really good. But it's up to you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. One Noctivision Dragon. I used to run this first at 3, and then at 2, and now at 1. He's a pretty good extender if you have another Dark Dragon on the field, but with like Levianeer and Red MD and stuff, he clogs a lot. But with the other Dark Dragons, he's actually not bad at all. Like, if you open up like just Tracer or something like that, but you don't ever want to end up with too many of this guy in your hand. Like, you end up with 2, and then you just have a dead card in your hand, discard fodder, that type of deal. But you don't want that. There's better cards you can play. Like, yes, he's a great extender. Yes, he draws you a card, but there's just, like, better extenders in the deck. You know what I'm saying? One Destrudo. This is another thing. I feel like you can't cut. Like, yeah, he does a huge, like, damper to your life points, but typically you'll be alright. I've actually heard of people winning off of Destrudo against Eldritch. So, someone, from what I heard, this wasn't my match. Someone played an Eldritch, I forget their name, they're on YouTube, but they had skill drain up, so they would trigger Distributor's Effect Engrave, bring him back, and just keep doing that. I don't remember the play off the top of my head exactly, but they just looped it because his field effect was skill drained, so they just looped and looped and looped. But yeah, this guy's a great extender, and I definitely do not recommend cutting him whatsoever. One Snow, this is one of the cards that keeps the deck going. This card is absolutely insane. You dump him off Shooting Riser. I feel like everyone knows this play. You know, you go into Hulk, bring out Red Rose, typically have Griffin on the field, go into Baron. I don't have Baron. You'll see what I have. It's a nice little tech card. But thing is, Baron's not a dark type either, so that's something I thought of. I was like, oh, he's not a dark type. You'll get locked out. And then I was like, wait, Baron's not a dark type either. So I'll go over that more later. But yeah, Fairy Tale Snow is a absolute fantastic card. And it keeps the deck going a lot. Hand traps, we have the 2 Veiler. For obvious reasons, it's a great hand trap. 3 Cyframe Gamma. This is probably the best hand trap in the game. If you watch some of my older videos, you see I was only running 2 Gamma, and that's because Gamma would always clog my hand. I would always end up with like 2 or like 1 in the driver, and I was trying to cut the deck down as much as possible, but then I realized it's a light target. I could discard the extra 1. Even if I get the other one like off and the other one's dead, again, discard fodder, stuff like that. It's just worth running at 3. I learned the hard way that it's just more optimal to run it at 3, and when you see multiple of it, it's better than just not seeing it all, because not seeing it also came up, and I don't know, like, it was cool at 2, and sometimes I think about it, but I just, like, I see it more often, and just with 50 cards, I don't see the double as much. Sorry to keep holding you guys up. This is probably going to be a mad long video. 3 Ash, because Ash is Ash. Also one of the best hand traps. And then I also play 2 Imperm to go with the hand traps. And then I kind of consider these guys interruptions, but not really hand traps. I'm still playing the chamber setup with 2 Tidying and 1 Chamber Dragon Maid. So this is in here because of splites mainly, and just like bouncing stuff is really good, like overall. So even if you just end on like Seal's Tidying, it's actually like really good, because for splites, like if they normal summon or they like play their sprite starter and then they bring that card out, and then you can trigger Heretic Seal, bounce it, and then whatever play they have, you have, you know, your Tidying to bounce another card. So I see why people cut this, but I also feel like it's very, very good, and like overlooked, and kind of like people think it's underwhelming, but I disagree. I also feel like if people who run Hulk will find more use from this. Like if you don't run, not Hulk, Seal. If you cut Seal, I understand cutting this. Something I wanted to talk about that I cut is Koiki Maru. I still feel like Koiki Maru Draco is an excellent card. And I'll probably put that in the side deck. I'll talk about the side deck options. I don't have one put together, but I will go over what I typically run in a side deck. It switches up a lot, but Koiki Maru is really good, but it is a side deck card because, like I said, a lot of sprites are going to be out and about. A lot of Trallaments, stuff like that. Flowunderies is still big, you know, they're wind, so the light and dark doesn't do anything against them. All you would do is lock yourself in. You can't link off with it. You have to go into Romulus or hope it gets ran over, and then your floodgate's gone. So if you're playing in a mirror match, side it in. If you're playing against like Drytron, that type of ordeal, side it in. But I wanted to go over that and why I cut that card. So 3 quick launch, moving on to the spells. This is like bread and butter, quite standard. You obviously want to run this. 3 chaos space. Again, you obviously want to run this. I've heard of people not running this. I don't think that's ordeal. 10 out of 10, I recommend running this. You can still add Levineer. If you cut Levineer, you don't really have an extra target for it. I also used to search BLS off of this, but I cut BLS because my copy was old. I didn't realize it was target. I know that's mad dumb, and I should have looked into it more. I'm sorry. If he didn't target, that'd be mad cool, but he does target, so unfortunately, yeah, he's cool, but I cut him. I might put him back in for giggles and stuff, but he's a fun card. Going to casuals, I'll probably play him, but anything above that, definitely cutting him. Light Pauster is also a iffy, but he's my favorite card, so I'm gonna run him at least. So for the last two cards in the deck are the last 2 bricks, Ravine and Boot Sector. I did cut the Dragoonity package. I'll go over that a little bit more in a sec when I go through the extra deck. I love Crystal Wing, but it's too large of a package. Anyway, let's get a move on and go into the extra deck. First up, obviously, is the Striker Dragon. I wish this would come back to at least 2. I don't know if I would run it at 3 anymore, but I ran 2 on Master Duel. I run this deck a little bit. It's not nearly as good in Master Duel, just because of I'm not used to how it plays a little bit more and the different ban lists and stuff. But yeah, if I could run this at 2, I would. 1 Pisty, obviously. I cut Pisty before for branded stuff, but the branded stuff didn't come up nearly as much, and you don't run enough fusions to make Mirror Jade's effect viable, like the banishing stuff. That's what really hurts the opponent, is that banishing effect. And that's what really made me realize is you had to dedicate a lot of the extra deck to fusion monsters, and this, it just doesn't work. 1 Romulus, he still comes up a lot for weird hands. He gets you out of a lot of weird situations. He just lets you play a little bit better. 1 Seal. I understand people cutting this, but also not, because it gets the sprites main card off the field. Also, spoiler alert, I am going to be playing sprites. I'm going to upload a budget version of it until I can afford blues, because blues $90. I also have a budget Despia deck I can show you. That's actually pretty fire. Anyway, Seals, this gets the Sprites deck, Sprites normal summon off the field, and then it gets you into a follow-up. Like I said, Light Pauster, if you have stuff in the grave, Light Pauster can bring back a pretty decent body on board. Even if you just had Router, now your opponent just got their normal summon negated, and they have to deal with a 2800 monster. 1 IP, I finally broke and put IP in because the Unicorn play is just so good. 1 Dark, I'm very particular how I like these. The 1 Dark, he does still come up against DPEs, and Despia is still pretty relevant, so he comes up a lot against Despia, so I wouldn't really cut him. And then the 1 Hulk, Hulk is dope. He should get banned, but man, oh man, I really hope he doesn't get banned, just because of the Snow Riser play, and it would just hurt the deck so freaking much. 1 Unicorn and 1 Triple Burst. I see people playing one over the other, but they both come up. The Triple Burst and Pisty play comes up all the time. I think I did two duels without Triple Burst, and I said, no, I'm putting him back in. I also used to not run him at all, and that was also when I thought it was time to let go of Pisty. And then I started doing those combos, and I was like, no, absolutely not. It has to be in here. It opens up Borrowen so much easier, these bigger plays. It's just so good. And then moving on, Boral Sword. This should be Access Code Talker, but Access Code Talker is like a $55 card. I got a lot of stuff going in my life. Money's tight. I can't be spending all my money on Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I wish I could. I really do. But Boros Sword is a nice alternative. The only thing that sucks about him is he requires 3 plus effect monsters, whereas Access Code Talker is 2. So a lot of times where you could end up on Access Code Talker, and then like Chaos Ruler, or even the next card up from him, or even you know what I'm talking about. You'll see him in a second. The Synchro, Savage Dragon. Sorry, I had a brain fart. Or even like Savage and Access Code Talker. You can't, because you only have him, and you only have Triple Burst and Pisty. So that comes up to 4, but like you're stuck because he requires 3 plus. So that's my main complaint about him. But he's still relevant enough. Like you can use like I'm trying to think of it. Destrudo. Sorry about that. You can use Destrudo, bring him out. Even banishing Tidying and bringing out Chamber again, and then going into him. Or even at that point going into this guy, Borrowend. Borrowend is what makes this deck good. Borrowend and then Hauk and the Brave. Borrowend, Hauk, and Snow are all like the key, like make this deck good. But yeah, Borrowend can't be targeted by monster effects, can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. The only thing I've seen like this card lose to is like most of the time is like a very niche situation. This guy was playing Neospatians, right? And he brought out Glow Moss. This wasn't me. This was another like scenario from another YouTuber. He brought out Glow Moss, popped the Ravine, and then attacked over him. I don't know what this Dragon Link player did to have Borrowend on the field and still have Ravine. But for that reason, like, I don't want to have, like, Ravine on the field anymore, or, like, any spells other than, like, my Brave stuff. So, anyway, for the Synchros, the Shooting Riser, the Savage, this is obviously for your Hauk plays, and then 21? Yeah, 2100 beat stick. Not the greatest, but hey, he gets Snow in the Grave. Savage, the Chaos Ruler, and then for my tech card, Psychic and Punisher. He's a level 11, so you use Rose Dragon to go into him off of Chaos Ruler. Not as hard as it sounds, and the same rules of being locked in the dark apply to this guy as Baron, because Baron's wind. So if you were locked in the darks, you wouldn't be able to go into Baron anyway. But, like, I understand it's not as good as optimal, but, like, yeah, it's an alternative. Baron's a $110 card. So this was just a decent alternative. It's $20, like, or not even, I think it's like 18, but basically 3,500 attack. If your life points are lower than your opponent's, he gains the difference in your life points to his attack. So if you use Destrudo, he becomes like 7,500, and then you can like lose 1,000, pay 1,000 life points, and then banish one card you control and one card your opponent controls. And yeah, it's like 1-for-1, but you still have him on the field. You can like go for game half the time. Like, you do that after you use Destrudo, he'll have 8,500 attack. If your opponent only has one card on the field, and you do that effect, he's like, it's game. So I do want to go over Crystal Wing real quick. So Crystal Wing is a fantastic card, but you had to play 3 Remus, a Legatus, Baby Rock, and an extra Dragon Ravine in the main deck just to have access to it. So that's 6 extra cards, and like 3 of them are bricks. So like 3 are good, 3 are bricks. So you're playing like just as many good cards as you are bricks. So you're just as much likely to end up with one of the good cards as a brick. And those bricks sucked. Except for Ravine. Ravine was okay, but having like Legatus or Baby Rock sucked, and it happened all the time. And then on top of those 6 cards in the main deck, you had to have 2 slots in the extra deck for Crystal Wing. So, like, yeah, I could cut, like, these 2 guys and still run it, and then run 56 cards in the main deck, but IP and Unicorn are just so much more reliable. If this proves to be not as effective as the Crystal Wing play, then yeah, I might go back to it, but for right now, I like this. I feel like this video is long enough. Hopefully you guys learned something. Hope you guys like this improved deck profile. I love this deck a lot, and like I really had to cut cards that I really liked and enjoyed, but anyway, this is stuff I can go over in my outro, which here it is. I didn't talk about my side deck, did I? Let me do that real quick. Also, I wanted to add in Token Collector is definitely going into the side deck. So it's for Sword Souls and stuff like that. So here it is. So for a side deck that I would run is typically like more niche stuff like DD Crows, Dark Ruler No Mores, Ghost Ogres. I don't know why I keep calling them Ashes. Ghost Ogres, Red Reboot, even like Red Lotus, the card that lets you look at your opponent's hand and stuff. That's a pretty good tech card. A Cyclone and Harpy's Feather Duster. Typically stuff like that. I also usually have Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend and Hot Red Dragon Archfiend in the side deck because they are very, very good synchro monsters. So, sorry I don't have the side deck put together for you guys. But, yeah, they are just really good extra deck monsters that I didn't have space for. So I put them in the side deck typically. So the side deck with Dragon Link is typically pretty like loose, like you can throw a lot in there because a lot of stuff in the deck covers a lot of stuff. Like Gamma covers just about anything, Imperms covers just about everything, Ashes cover just about everything, Veilers cover everything else. You know, it's all pretty covered. You know, Snow books everything, stuff like that. So yeah, with that out of the way, back in the outro. Okay, guys, so now that was my Brave Adventure Dragon Link deck profile. Hope you guys liked it. Hope you guys thought this was a little bit better than my decks before. Like I said, the other decks I think are a little bit more fun, a little bit more like unique, and just can do a little bit more fun stuff. And the bricks were a little too much. So anyway, guys, like I said, hope you guys like this video. And yeah, let me know what you guys want to see next time. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video.